So are you guys able to tell us where your headspace is at while you're creating this record?
That's a tough question. We ran the gambit. Like there was a lot of things personally in each one of our lives that were going on while we were in the studio. Um, and Bree and I being parents, and well, Donnie is a parent, and Gil's a parent now too, pretty much. So there's the added pressure of like being away from your kids and not being able to be there. Like I'm a soccer coach, so missing games. It's stuff's really hard, and not to mention like 30 straight days, 15-hour days. You'd sleep 4 or 5 hours some nights. It wears on you after a while, and trying to feel like you had to get it right. Was tough at first. But there was also a lot of like we leaned on each other a lot. We came together a lot. Me and Bree writing this thing. There was just so much time we just spent talking about our lives and talking about what we want and our dreams and our hopes for the album and our hopes for the future. Um, and Brett was such a calming thing. Like that's Brett's whole thing. He had these inhalers, these little Thai herb meditation inhalers for combating vertigo, right? They're crazy. It's like Vicks with lemongrass or something. But anytime you get stressed, you come over and be like, take a deep breath. And then he'd be like, are you afraid? Does this make you afraid? We'd be like, I'm not afraid of it. And he goes, okay, good. If you're not afraid, then we can keep going. Let's keep moving. And it was just like very much Papa Bear. Sometimes he had to be more Papa Bear than he probably wanted to. There are 7 of us, and we can be unruly at times. But it it was it was crazy. It was transformative. It was hard, but I mean, I think there was a lot of peace with it when we go, okay, this is what we do. Like this is what we do. We do this. We make songs. We make albums. Like we're a somewhat professional band. Like we can do this together. And that was a super just unifying thing. And I think that the studio really transformed a lot of our relations and how we talk to each other and brought us together in a really real way that was like, all right, we got to do this together. We only have 6 of 15 songs written. And even then we really only have about 3.5 songs written. So
Brie, was your headspace similar?
Yeah, and that's the struggle, right? Being in a band. And I mean, as a parent, obviously my demands are very, very obvious of, what my home life looks like. But when you're gonna make that kind of investment, it's like this pressure and this weight that you feel to like make it worth it. Like I tell my daughter, if I'm going to be away from you, it is going to be worth it. I am going to work my ass off. I work my ass off on tour. I work my ass off in the studio because that's the trade-off. And if it's going to be worth it, then I better be doing my damnedest. And so I think we all kind of felt that while we were out there, and there was just this immediate buy-in. There was not I don't know. It's like Joey said. I think we were all very nervous going in. We didn't, especially with so little material. It's like, am I going to show up in a place that I can write? Are we going to get along with this guy? Or is there space for us? Just all these little things, and all you know is that you're going to be spending a month there, and that you better leave with a CD done, and you can only hope that you're proud of it, and whatever it is. And so kind of tackling that right out the gate, the fear, because I think that's how I went into it, with a lot of fear and a lot of pressure and a lot of almost like pre-guilt, where it's like this had better be good. And then we got there and it was like, no, this is going to be good. Let's just do the work now. Yeah. And that switch, I think, changed everything, because I knew some things that we wanted to say. We knew that there were points that we wanted to make, and that there were topics we wanted to cover, but it also happened so naturally. Like we didn't have to force our point into anything. It was kind of like, oh man, that line that you had written before, this is the song for that. Like, and these things became like amalgamations of work that we've shared with each other for the past 2 years since we wrote the last one. So there's there's references to things that we came up with a year ago, but in the studios when they floated to the top and it was like, oh, it's time to use that, like, you know. And it's such a cool freaking marker of again, just like that time and place, who we were right then, going in scared, leaving peaceful, like being at peace with it. It's such a cool reminder, I guess, also of why we do this and what we do, and that you can capture it.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you guys left the studio like feeling confident and feeling that you had went in there and achieved the job that you wanted to, because obviously it is this big job that you're putting on yourself to go in the studio and be like, we are writing and recording the record in a month, and if we don't have it, then what the fuck do we do?
There was so much stress right before we left, where we were having writing sessions 3-4 times a week, just throwing things at the wall. And most of the songs that we came up with during those writing sessions didn't even make the album, because we were trying to force it. We were like, we got to have songs. We can't go in there and embarrass ourselves in front of Brett and say, I don't know, we'll figure it out. And then that ends up being what it is. It's just, we'll figure it out. Yeah. And we did. And I think that was one of the best parts, was you can be as stressed as you want going into it, but when you get there, you just have to let it go and just trust yourself and trust your bandmates that everybody's in it. And Bree said that perfectly. It was just a buy-in. Everyone said, okay, I trust you. This is why we're doing this together. Like, you know, one of the songs I was like, I'm writing a song about sleep paralysis. And everyone's like, all right, let's write a song about sleep. And it has that breakdown where Bree's screaming, and it's the hardest part of the record. I mean, it's like, we just trusted each other, and that was remarkable. It really unlocked a lot of doors for us, I think, as a unit.
Love it. Hell yeah.
So happy to hear that.